What's good, everybody? So you guys know what this video is. We're back for the M4A1-S today. It's going to be a guide explaining all the tips, tricks, things to know about every skin in CS2 so you know exactly what to get. With that being said, let's get right into the video. First up is the Black Lotus. Now, this is probably the nicest purple budget skin in the entire game. This skin has a flora design to it, has a nice purple color, so it's going to be perfect for Imperial Plaids or any purple loadouts. This is probably your best option by far. It's also gunsmith finish, so it wears really nicely, and I think field tested is going to be the best value at $9. Also in Battle Scarred, it starts to get like a darker purple color, so let me show you. Even in Battle Scarred, like really high floats, it actually looks really nice. The pink gets a little bit darker, and the purples get a little bit more deeper, so that's also a good option if you want to go for Battle Scarred. If you're a fan of the Vaporwave design, you're going to love this skin. This is the M4A1-S Vaporwave, and it has a ton of detail, a ton of vibrant colors. We have a statue in the middle, some floral designs towards the front, checkerboards in the back, just so much going on. It's gorgeous. Now, in terms of combos, you can pair this with literally any vibrant glove in the game, from pink to purple to orange. You have so many options. Now, if you want the best value, I would go for field tested 0.15 through 0.20, but I would actually recommend going for factory new to minimal wear because this skin wears pretty rough, but overall just a gorgeous skin. I would recommend waiting a little bit to save some money because it is brand new. Next up, the Printstream, which in my opinion is iconic at this point. It's a simple but elegant skin. We have a black and white colorway, so it's perfect for black and white inventories. You can pair this with black ties, king snake, spearmints. Any glove that has a base white color is going to look really nice, and of course the pearlescence is going to be the main feature of this skin. It changes color. Once again, you can also put a ton of hollows on this skin because it has a ton of space for it, and in terms of the best value, I would go for field tested. This skin barely shows anywhere, so field tested is going to provide excellent value, but factory new is also a great choice. Next up, the Night Terror, which basically has a horror theme to it. It's got a nice black and red colorway in factory new, and it's extremely cheap, about $120 in fact new, so go for the best condition if you want to go for this color scheme. As far as gloves go, blood sports, anything black and red is going to be a great option. However, there's another use case for it. In Battle Scarred, it gets a ton of vibrant purple throughout the whole gun, so it's a perfect skin for cheap budget purple inventories. You can pair this with Imperial Plaids, and in my opinion, I prefer the Battle Scarred version over the fact new, but both options are great. Now, if you would like to buy any of these skins, make sure to check out today's sponsor, which is SkinSwap. SkinSwap is a CS2 marketplace where you can buy, sell, and trade skins with great reviews on Trustpilot. It's an easy way to swap your old skins for new ones or cash them out, and you always get a 40% deposit bonus. They offer a huge selection of skins to pick from and even daily giveaways. So if you want to try it out, you can use my link in the description for a free CS item. Next up, the Decimator, which basically has the same aesthetic as the Vaporwave, but it's way cheaper at $9 in field tested, so it's a great budget choice. If you like pink or blue, it's going to be a good option. You can pair this with overprints or vice gloves, tons of space for crafting with pink stickers or blue, and it has the gunsmith finish, so there's two benefits. A, it has a nice metallic shine to it, and B, it wears really nicely, so field tested is going to look factory new and only cost $9. Next up, the Player 2, which has a gorgeous comic book style to it with a sticker bomb design, so there's a ton of detail, a ton of color. It's a very vibrant, gorgeous looking skin, and you can pair it with POWs for a perfect match. The POWs have the perfect colors to match, and on top of that, they have the comic book style to them as well, so it matches on two different levels. And if you want the best value, I would go for 0.15 field tested if you can find a good wear pattern, but realistically, minimal wear is going to be that sweet spot for looks and value. Next up, the Nightmare, which was actually done by Apel, who also did the Containment Breach, so all his skins have a horror theme in mind, and this one is no different. It's a gorgeous skin with a ton of different shades of blue. You can pair this with cool mints, polygons, anything with dark blue is going to look really nice. As far as crafting goes, it is definitely hard to craft on it. There's not a lot of space, and for the best value, I think field tested at $9 is going to be a great choice. Nice skin if you want to go for a horror themed loadout. What you'll notice is that the M4A1-S is loaded with good skins, and the Golden Coil is no different. We have a nice golden black colorway, which looks incredible. We have scales, we have a serpent in the middle, tons of accents, great looking skin. It is definitely hard to craft on, but I would recommend those golden foil spider stickers. They match really nicely. As far as combos go, I recommend two gloves. The Overtake, these are a great budget choice, or you could do the Omegas as well. Now, as far as value goes, this skin is gunsmith, so I think field tested for around $55 is going to be a great choice. Onto the Hyperbeast, which we've covered already on some other guns, but I think it's a standout on the M4A1-S. I love the beast design here. The colors are great. It's a great pairing with a lot of gloves. I personally prefer the cobalt skulls for the color and the theme of like the skulls and the beast design. As far as value goes, I think field tested at 45 is going to be great. It's going to look pretty much mint, but it's going to cost nearly twice as cheap as factory new, and it also has a really nice wear pattern in Battle Scarred, which looks like this. Now, this skin is custom map for Battle Scarred, so a lot of the details actually stay and the background gets removed. So if you want a cheaper skin or you want this more aggressive Battle Scarred style to it, I think this is also a great option. The Empera Surus S was directly inspired by Jurassic Park, from the colors to the dinosaur breaking out, and the dinosaur has a nice 3D effect to it, but keep in mind it's not 3D mapped. Now, as far as combos go, you can use yellow, green, and red. The bronze morphs have both red and green, so it actually looks pretty nice, and it's also extremely cheap at $2, so you might as well get the best condition. The leaded glass has a really cool design to it, with a bunch of 3D glass shards covering the entire gun with a black background. It has a blue and orange colorway, so you can pair this perfectly with Tiger Strikes or any other blue glove. Now, this skin does actually have some space for crafting towards the front, and it actually has some nice anodized shine to it on the glass shards themselves. It's a super cheap skin. I would recommend either minimal wear or field tested, but I think minimal wear at $5 is going to be the best value. Chanos Fire is a skin that I rarely see anyone using, but it actually has some pretty cool qualities to it. The colorway of yellow and red is great if you want to go for a red inventory, and it is extremely busy in design. Pretty much the entire skin is covered in lines, so you cannot craft on it, but if you like this aesthetic, definitely go for it. As far as combos go, Scarlet Chamas have the perfect red tone to match really nicely with the skin, and the skin is quite expensive in fact new, so I think minimal wear at $60 is going to be a great deal. Next up, the Mecha Industries with its industrial design and black, white, and tan colorway. This skin is very hard to work with in terms of gloves. There's no gloves that work one-to-one. I think the best option is black ties for the black and white. However, the skin has a ton of space for crafting and applying stickers. Also, you can pick from a ton of different colors. Now, this skin is also gunsmith, so it looks great in a ton of different floats, and I think field tested at about $24 is going to be the best value here. Next up, the Cyrex, which is an OG skin with a ton of space for crafting, so if you like applying stickers, this is a great choice. Even better yet, the colorway is white, black, and red, so it's going to work with a ton of inventories, tons of gloves. You can make this work in pretty much any inventory. It is incredibly versatile. Also, this skin does wear pretty bad, so I do actually recommend minimal wear at $25, but overall, just a skin that you can do so much with and so much options in terms of inventory building. Atomic Alloy is a great choice if you want to go for an orange loadout. It's a gorgeous skin. It has the anodized multicolored finish, so it has a very nice shine to it on the metal parts, but you have to keep in mind this skin wears really bad. So it's one of the rare cases where I do recommend overpaying for factory new at $80. It will minimize how much wear the skin has, and wear really makes this skin look a lot worse. You have a ton of space for crafting. Overall, a simple skin, but it's very vibrant and looks great with Tiger Strikes and pretty much anything that's orange or black. Next up, the Basilisk, which has a silver body and a serpent in the middle. Every other part is going to be full black, so it's great for full black inventories, and pairing it with Nox gloves is a great choice. You can even do the M4 Edgelord for like a black serpent theme that will look super clean. Also, you can do some super advanced crafts on the Basilisk itself if you put silver stickers on it. Now, this skin is patina based, so it actually gets darker and higher wear. I think factory new at $10 is a steal, but you could also consider Battle Scarred at $5 for like a darker aesthetic. The newly added Wash Me Please is a super cheap skin, only 50 cents in fact new, and the design is very simple. We have a tan body with some drawings on it, and then the buffer tube is actually anodized and it's blue. So I actually like pairing field agent gloves with it for that blue match, but if you want to go for the tan loadout, you can do it, but gloves are not really going to match this skin one-to-one. Very basic skin, that's pretty much it for it. The M4A1-S Fade is a collection red, so it's extremely expensive, and it looks pretty much the same as every other Fade skin. We have purple, pink, and orange, and you can kind of tune that depending on the Fade percentage from 80 to 100. I only recommend going for fact new with fades, and it's going to be about $430. Now, this skin, if you want to pair it with fades, you can actually get really creative. You can tune the pattern on the gloves to match the percentage of fade that you have on your gun, and overall, it's a very vibrant, good-looking M4. If you like it, definitely go for it, but once again, it is quite expensive. Next up, the control panel, which in my opinion is a crazy sleeper pick. It's only $4 in field tested, and it looks incredible. Tons of detail, 3D mapping. We have a nice control panel design on the body. We have light blue, just a ton of colors going on. There's a lot of complexity to the skin. It looks great with neutral gloves like Nox or even the clips for the yellow accents. Overall, it's an incredible skin. It looks great in field tested, and $5 in my opinion is an absolute steal. Next up, the Nitro, which is a great budget skin if you're looking for an orange inventory. It's way cheaper than the Atomic Alloy, only about $3 in factory new, so go for the best condition. And the color scheme is simple. We have orange and gray, and it's more of a matte color compared to the anodized on the Atomic Alloy. Great for crafting, matches really well with Tiger Strikes, and overall a basic skin that you can do a lot with. Next up, the Master Masterpiece, which not a lot of people use, so if you do end up getting this skin, you'll be one of the few people that actually run it as a play skin. It's got graffiti in the middle and a blue background. It is definitely hard to craft on, there's not a lot of space, and for gloves I went with supers for the blue, but once again, gloves, it's kind of hard to match that same blue color on the skin. It is a collection skin, so it's expensive at $320 in factory new. For the best value, you go for field tested, 0.15 through 0.20, that'll be around $120. Next up, the Mud Spec, which is a pretty basic skin. We have camo in the middle and a metallic sheen covering the entire gun, which is a big bonus. It's also very cheap at 80 cents in factory new, so go for the best condition. However, I also highly recommend checking this skin out in Battle Scarred. In higher floats, the skin actually changes and gets more bronze, so if you prefer this color, definitely go for Battle Scarred, but keep in mind this skin was recently nerfed, so higher float Battle Scarreds don't look as good, they get a lot of wear. I think the sweet spot is 0.45 to 0.60. The M4A1-S Darkwater is an OG skin with the anodized multicolored finish, so it's quite bright, it's got like a reflective finish to it, and it's full gray, so it matches really well with smoke out gloves and pretty much any gray inventory. It is quite expensive because it's very old, and I only recommend going for minimal wear. You cannot get it in factory new, it's flow capped, and plus the skin wears really bad, so I highly recommend spending the $80 on minimal wear. Next up, the Blood Tiger, which is a very basic skin, only $5 in fact new, so go for the best condition, and it's got a camo pattern with a tritone colorway of red, green, and black. It's kinda hard to actually match in inventories, but I do recommend red gloves to make like a nice contrast between the red on the gun and the gloves. Overall, it's a very basic skin, a little bit hard to craft on, and that's pretty much it. Next up, the M4A1-S Blue Phosphor, which is pretty much your go-to when it comes to high tier blue M4A1-S skins. It is a gorgeous skin with the anodized multicolored finish, so it's all one color, and it has the gamma Doppler wisps that we see throughout the whole skin, and you can get even different patterns. Now this skin, it is flow capped, so you can only get factory new and minimal wear, and I only recommend going for fac new with this skin. I highly recommend spending that $580 for the fac new condition. Overall, it's a great skin for full blue inventories. You can pair this with pretty much all the blue gloves in the game, and it's a gorgeous skin that you can actually do some great crafts on as well. Next up, the Very Camo, which is very basic and cheap. It's only $1 in factory new, and it's got a camo pattern with a woodland colorway. It actually has some great synergy with the arboreal gloves. It matches really nicely. That's probably the best use case. It is definitely hard to craft on this skin because it's so busy, but overall, if you're looking for like a camo or woodland loadout, this is actually a great choice. Next up, the Flashback. Now, if you like these rustic, war-torn looking skins, this is actually a pretty good option if you're going for a green loadout. It has great synergy with the Forest DD Pad gloves, especially in Idle. This looks incredible, and overall it's got like a nice Vietnam theme to it, super cheap. Honestly, if you like this style of skin and you like green, this is not a bad option. Next up, the Icarus Fell, which is personally one of my favorites. First of all, it's from the Gods and Monsters collection, so there's a huge lore aspect to it, where Icarus and Daedalus were flying. You can see all of the aspects of that story, the sun, the feathers, the tar melting. It is incredibly pattern-based, and there's 4 distinct patterns that you can get, which I'll show in a minute. It is also quite expensive, and the main color is more of like a cyan instead of a blue, but I still consider it a blue skin, so overprints look incredible with the skin. Now let me show you the different patterns. This is considered a bright pattern where we have the sun in the corner of the gun with the feathers spreading out through the middle. Here's another version of the bright pattern where here the sun kind of moves over to the side, so we see the sun feathers and the tar melting on the left. Another bright version is going to be where the sun is centered, so you see the feathers, the sun in the middle, and then the tar melting, and you see pretty much the entire image because it's in the center of the actual body of the gun. Next up, a dark pattern where you can see the sun is all the way towards the back on the stock, so the entire body is going to be full black. So if you prefer this version of the gun, definitely check some patterns that look like this. One more dark pattern that I wanted to show is this one right here, where we actually get feathers on the handle, the silencer, and the main body of the gun, so it actually looks really nice on the dark contrast of the background. Overall, this skin is about $450 in factory new, and I only recommend going for fac new when you pick this skin up. Next up, the Moss Quartz, which in my opinion is extremely underrated. It's from the Norse collection, and it's got the anodized multicolored finish, so it's extremely bright and vibrant, and it's got a nice geometry pattern going through the middle of the gun. Also, the lime colorway makes it a great choice if you want to pair it with the emerald gloves, and overall, if you want to get this skin, I highly recommend factory new at $55 because it wears really bad. Next up, the Briefing, which is quite a basic skin. It's basically a map covering the entire gun with plans on it. It's got a red and blue colorway, so I could not find any gloves that matched really well. I just go neutral with like a gray glove, something cheap would look nice, and it's also about $8 in factory new. The best value is going to be minimal wear at $4. Next up, the Guardian, which is a very old skin. It came out in 2013, so it's quite OG, and it is very basic. Factory new and minimal wear is pretty much the same price, so I would go for factory new at 22 bucks. And the design is very simple. We have a blue background with the CT Agent logo on the actual magazine. You can't really find gloves that match one-to-one, so I went with lunar weaves, but you do actually have some space to do some pretty good crafts. Next up, the M4A1-S Brightwater, which is a blue camo skin, so it pairs really nicely with amphibious gloves, and you can make a whole loadout around Brightwater skins because you can even get them on knives as well. Now, this skin only comes in minimal wear and field tested, and they're pretty much identical in price, so definitely go for minimal wear. As far as crafting goes, you can make it work, but it is definitely tricky to do, and it's a pretty basic skin, but if you like blue and camo, definitely go for it. Next up, the M4A1-S Fizy Pop, which is a geometric pattern-based M4A1-S, and it has a really nice colorway of orange, red, black, and then ivory, so it's gonna match really well with Tiger Strikes. This combo looks incredible, great synergy here. It's a super cheap skin, only 2 bucks in factory new, so obviously go for the best condition, and make sure to get a pattern that you really like. Let's quickly cover the Boreal Forest. It's super cheap, about $1 in factory new, and it's got a camo pattern with a woodland colorway. It's one of the rare cases where I do actually recommend Gorilla Gloves. If you want to run this skin, you can actually pair this with super cheap gloves like the Gorilla for a nice color match, but overall that's pretty much it. It's definitely hard to craft on it, and once again it's a basic camo skin. One of the most expensive M4A1-S skins in the game is the Imminent Danger. It's a collection red, so factory new starts at $1,900. However, it does have the gunsmith finish, so field tested looks fact new, and it only costs $700. Now I say only because it's way cheaper than factory new. Now this skin has a really cool feature to it. So most industrial design skins that we see on a lot of other guns are typically monochrome, where we see white and black and gray. This skin has a ton of color. It's extremely vibrant, has a nice metallic plating texture on the body. There's a ton of decals from like an industrial site. It's a super unique, cool looking skin, and it has so many options for inventories because of the abundance of color. You can pair so many gloves with this skin, and once again, it is quite expensive, but there's definitely merits to this skin that make it one of the best in my opinion. Definitely super underrated though. Another collection red is going to be the Welcome to the Jungle. This skin is extremely expensive at $2,000 in factory new. I would recommend field tested 0.15 through 0.18. Around that $1,000 price point is going to be great value. Now this skin overall, I definitely recommend Slingshots, easily the best glove for the skin, and the actual design itself is gorgeous. We have a nice golden snake coiling around the gun. We have a jungle background. Tons of color, tons of little symbols everywhere. The entire skin is saturated with art. It's a gorgeous skin, and also consider getting it in Battle Scarred, because in Battle Scarred, as you can see, it has a specially mapped wear pattern where it actually starts making snake scales on the mag, the stock, and some other parts of the gun. Really cool, way cheaper, but keep in mind the artwork is going to be way duller than, let's say, field tested or factory new. Next up, the Hot Rod, which is basically the red version of the blue Phosphor. They have the same finish, which is anodized multicolored, and this skin looks gorgeous. Very simple, but it's full red. We got a candy coat paint over it with a nice shiny reflective texture. I think this skin is done very well. It is quite expensive. It comes in factory new and minimal wear, and I highly recommend going for factory new. Even 00 floats past that $870 price point might be worth it, because this skin wears really bad where it shows wear in 0.01. So I actually do recommend 00 float. The overpay will be worth it, but this skin is perfect for red inventories. Anything from high tier to low tier matches really well with pretty much every red glove in the game, and it's perfect for crafting. From yellow stickers to red to black, it's all gonna look great. Very simple skin that just looks gorgeous, and there's not too much going on, but simplicity is key here. Speaking of simplicity, for the last skin of the video, we have the Knight. Now this skin is the trade up to the Dragon Lore, so it's extremely expensive at $2,700 in factory new. I would only recommend getting this skin in fact new. I would even go as far as to say look for 0.03 and below for the float, because this skin wears really bad, and the lower the float, the better the skin gets. Now for the design, like I said, it's very minimal, but it's elegant and royal. The color scheme of black on gold is incredible. We have a golden buffer tube, golden barrel. We have tons of space for crafting. You could do golden stickers, yellow, you could do crown foils. They're all gonna pop on the body, which has a full matte black colorway. Now you can also pair Nox or Arids depending on which colors you prefer, and overall it's a very elegant, simple skin that a lot of people don't like, but for those that like the simple but clean skins, this is definitely a phenomenal choice. So that's pretty much it for this video. Guys, if you enjoyed, please consider subbing to the channel, drop a like on the video if you learned something new. A new guide will be coming very soon, and I hope to see y'all in the next video. Peace out, everyone.